So now we're going to be taking a look at some of the other things that our calculator can do with matrices. Again, I still have the same matrices just stored in my calculator that I've been building on. And two of the really big ones that I want to focus on are determinants and inverses, right? And how our calculator can do this. We obviously know how to do determinants by hand for 2 by 2 and 3 by 3, and please don't lose that. That is still really important to us. And we know how to find the inverse by hand of a 2 by 2. But for a 3 by 3, I shared with you all that we would be using calculators for that. You can get the adjoint, you can do all of that stuff, and it's interesting, and if you want support with how to do that, we're happy to help, but it's not necessary, right? Because we're going to use our calculator to support us with that. So in order to do the determinant, let's start with that. I'm going to go ahead, and that's a matrix that's stored within matrices. Like that's specific to matrices. So I'm going to go, whereas like addition and subtraction and multiplication are operations for everything, so it's stored on our main part of the calculator. So I'm going to first of all go grab determinant. Second matrix, it's in math, is this first one, number 1, says DET. I'm going to take that. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to find the determinant of this 3 by 3 matrix, A. -54. Right? So this is pretty cool, right? Like you know how to do it for a 3 by 3 matrix by hand, and that's something that we still want to be able to do and something you will be continue to be assessed on and check your understanding of that. But when you have a calculator sitting in front of you, use it as a tool to check your own work. It's great. It's a great tool. The other thing, and maybe you just saw this when I clicked on it, is, well, what would happen if I did try to take the determinant of a matrix that wasn't square? Second matrix. Let's say I pulled out number 4, D. Oh, error, invalid dimensions, right? So your calculator's going to stop you. It's not broken. You just clicked something off, right? So it says to check the dimensions. Check inverse of square matrix only. Ooh, it even says that. Wow, fancy. The other thing my calculator can do, let's look at it. Let's check it out. T. Well, if I did A, T, that's transpose. Right? If you're transposing it, that's where the rows in the columns switched. So I could find the transpose of a matrix. I could probably do that by hand, but it's just something neat that my calculator does. And maybe I need to use it for something else. And it's not that I'm just being asked that. So let's say I'm going to take E. I didn't put really large matrices in here, but that would probably have been a little bit more effective. Second matrix, math. We'll go down to number 2. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Second matrix, math. It's like not, I swear it's like not calibrated. I don't even know if that's the right word. I think it is. Ah, I was in y equals. You're seeing all the real struggles. Second matrix, second matrix, I'm gonna go down to 5, and then second matrix, math, number 2. Enter, enter. And you can see the rows and columns will just switch. And I can store that and then use it for something else. In order to do the inverse of a matrix, second matrix, let's say I want to do the inverse of this 3 by 3 matrix. I don't need to go ahead and find the determinant. All right, I can just get it the inverse. So let's recall it, enter, and push this button right here, x to the power of -1. That's inverse notation. We know that. These notations never go away. Enter. Oh no, I didn't do it. Second matrix, I never clicked it after all that. Right, there's my inverse. That is ugly looking. I can change this so it's in fractions, right? So I'm not rounding decimals. The only time it won't actually change to fractions is if it can't, meaning it's irrational, right? Irrational numbers cannot be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers. So I'm going to push math, enter, enter, and look, everything changes to a fraction. Fractions are better than rounding decimals. Let's say I'm going to use this, right? So I found that is A inverse, that. I'm not going to write it down, but that is A inverse. I'm going to go ahead and store this because that's not something I want to have to retype. Second matrix, let's store it. What do I have left? 8 is H. Okay, so I stored it as H. And let's say I want to check that. Well, if I do A times A inverse, it should get the identity matrix. Let's see. So if I go ahead and I do second matrix and I recall A, and then I multiply it by second matrix H, so number 8. Oh my goodness, I get the identity matrix. You can check your own work here, right? You can really make these connections about what we've learned and now let the calculator support you in doing the same things that we've learned. Okay, so it does make your lives easier or simpler when we're working with larger numbers and different numbers, but it lets you, now that you have this understanding of how things work, it's a resource. Okay, so don't forget it. Don't rely on the calculator. Think about how it can help you and how you can use it to check your work. So on the next slide, you guys are doing some practice working with determinants and inverses and transpose and just using the calculator to get this information for you. So again, as you've been doing, please make sure you record your work and your answers there for us to see and review. And you have one more piece of this, or I guess 2 more pieces of this lesson.